Alright guys, welcome back. It's your boy Sensei Swole checking in for a new video on the channel. Now for today's video, a bit of a change of scenery. I've been setting up my room for sit down videos in this corner here, rather than the middle corner, which I've been using for a lot of my videos and check-ins. You can see a bit of, figurines, Goku and Vegeta up there, LED lights, and the Sensei Swole backdrop. Hope you guys like it. Let me know if this is a better kind of backdrop for these kind of videos where I sit down and explain things. And that leads on to the topic. And that leads on to today's video, which is going to be an explanation video about training, more specifically overtraining and training till failure. Now, as the name implies, a lot of people can take this as doing too many sets, too many reps, too many sessions throughout the week, or not having enough rest days. And this can basically lead to putting so much time and effort into your training, getting little to no actual extra benefit in terms of your hypertrophy stimulus. And also possibly detrimenting your gains because you might feel too fatigued and not recovered enough to hit your next session. Now, don't get me wrong, there is obviously a dose-dependent relationship between your training volume and your hypertrophy, so your actual results that you can get from your training, but there is a point where this sort of starts to decline, and that is known as junk volume. What is junk volume? Well, junk volume is basically any kind of training or volume throughout a workout or week which doesn't actually contribute to any added hypertrophy or benefit in terms of maximizing your muscle gain. And all it pretty much will do is just build up fatigue, hindering your growth, your rest, and your recovery. So basically what we want to try to accomplish is minimize our junk volume and actually increase our effective volume. This is because effective volume is basically the type of training that maximally stimulates our anabolic pathways, such as muscle protein synthesis, which is a proxy for muscle growth. And this term effective volume is actually the minimal amount of training volume you need to stimulate growth and maximize your muscle protein synthesis. Now, this is something that I've fallen victim to in the first couple of years of my training. I would go into the gym for about an hour to an hour and a half. Let's say I'm training chest. I would probably do maybe 7 to 8 exercises with 3 to 4 sets per exercise, feeling great, getting an awesome pump, feeling like I've accomplished so much. And yes, I was getting good results from it. But over the years, I couldn't keep up with this. My body would feel sore, I just feel fatigued, and I wasn't ready for the following sessions when trying to hit a certain muscle group once again. Because basically trashing a muscle group with that much volume or junk volume isn't going to do anything more than cause extreme fatigue for that muscle group, hinder its recovery, and also limit the capacity of training that muscle group again within the next few days or so. And also accessory muscle groups, as with your chest, you might be training your delts and your triceps, and with your back, you might be engaging your rear delts and your biceps. So now you're wondering how many sets or how many reps or how many sessions should I do during the week to get this effective volume to stimulate muscle protein synthesis and avoid hitting that junk volume zone, which will cause greater fatigue and detriments to your recovery. Training really needs to be thought as a way of getting into the gym, maximizing a muscle group's anabolic pathways and muscle protein synthesis, and then getting out. Just as Lee Haney says, stimulate, don't annihilate. Now, personally, as I mentioned before, I used to do a bunch of exercises. I would hit maybe 7 or 8 exercises for chest, maybe the same for back, and the same for legs. I may have been doing 3 to 4 sets per each exercise, which would have put me at about 24 to 32 sets. And yes, I'll admit, when you're first starting out in the gym, this can still feel great. You won't really feel the chronic fatigue setting in for a while, and you obviously start getting a lot of great results, almost like the newbie gains. But it will take its toll. What I've personally been doing for the last year or so is minimizing my total amount of working sets between 8 to 12. Absolute maximum would be 16. Now, at first, I was pretty skeptical of doing this because after I'd finished the 8 or 12 sets, I still felt like I had a lot more in me. But I noticed over the following weeks that when I was to go into the gym and train that muscle group again, whether it be later in that week, if I'm hitting a muscle group twice, or 7 days later, I felt much more recovered, I felt stronger, and I was actually able to progress my strength gains as well a lot better in the gym. And now what this has allowed me to do is actually increase my training frequency over the week, as I feel recovered quicker and ready to hit a certain muscle group again, maybe twice a week or sometimes even 3 times a week. And this has been crucial for my bodybuilding journey, as each time I've competed, I've noticed parts of my body that I consider a weak point, and I've wanted to bring them up. This year, this has particularly been my side delts, my back thickness in my lower back, as well as my quads. So pretty much I've been hammering these muscle groups 2 to 3 times a week. But you might be wondering, how am I doing that and staying within that set threshold of about 12 to 16 sets? Well, that's because most of the time when I'm hitting these muscle groups 2 or 3 times a week, I'm limiting the amount of sets per those sessions. So when I'm hitting legs, for example, twice a week, one might be a quad biased workout, meaning I'm hitting about 8 to 10 sets for quads and maybe 4 sets for hamstrings. And then the other one might be a hamstring / glute dominant workout, where I'm hitting 8 to 10 sets for those two muscle groups and possibly just an additional 4 sets for quads in that workout to stimulate a little bit of anabolic pathways and a bit of muscle protein synthesis. I wish I'd done this earlier by increasing my training frequency, because I've noticed the best results from it in the last 8 months or so as compared to the previous couple years of training, aside from the first year or two as a newbie lifter. And yeah, I've noticed the most physical changes in terms of my body and pretty much packing on muscle in those areas that I've been trying to bring up just by increasing the training frequency and splitting the total effective volume throughout the week. As I mentioned in one of my last videos, my training split recently has been Monday being a push session, so chest, shoulders, and triceps. Tuesday being a leg A session. Wednesday being a pull session. Thursday rest. Friday being leg session B. And then Saturday being upper body session. So a mix of back, chest, shoulders, and arms. And if I was to give you another example, on the push session on Monday, for chest, I might only do 3 exercises between 3 to 4 sets on each, giving me about 11 to 12 sets in total. And then for shoulders and triceps, I usually keep it between 4 to 6 sets in total for those as well, as I'm probably going to be engaging the shoulders on back day as well as the upper body day, and also the triceps as I hit them in the upper body day also. This also just creates additional opportunities to maximally stimulate each muscle group throughout the week. And if you think about each of these training sessions as opportunities for growth by maximally stimulating each muscle group, you can go from training once a week for each muscle group, so being 52 times of growth per year, to 104 if training each body part twice a week, or possibly 156 if hitting them 3 times a week. If you are a newbie lifter, I still recommend training each body part maybe once a day, like a standard bro split, because you are going to benefit a lot of growth in that first 6 to 12, maybe even 15 months of your training journey. But do still make sure you are getting rest days in there. If you're an advanced lifter, maybe try upping your frequency of training each body part or certain muscle groups twice a week, but making sure you're staying between that 8 to 10, maybe 12 set range, just to make sure you are stimulating muscle growth but not annihilating yourself and causing too much fatigue for your future sessions and hindering your rest. So you could be doing a simple push, pull, and legs routine, maybe training 6 days a week, but limiting the volume per session. Once again, aiming for that sweet spot of about 8 for smaller muscle groups and 10 to 12 for larger muscle groups when training. So it was a lot of talking in this video, guys, but the main take-home points I want to emphasize are the following. You want to be aiming for effective volume when training a certain muscle group for maximal stimulation and thereby maximal muscle growth. Making sure to avoid junk volume, which might come in the form of cheat reps, swinging your way through reps, or forcing reps with the assistance of another partner, which may seem like a good idea, but this just might cause further damage to that muscle and fatigue it so much that it might not be ready for another session in that same training week. And possibly increasing your training frequency for a certain muscle group throughout the week, maybe hitting a certain muscle group 2 or 3 times throughout a week. This might allow for greater opportunities on muscle protein synthesis and growth for that muscle, not only throughout that week, but over an entire training year. Alright guys, and that was it for today's video about training, overtraining, junk volume, effective volume. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. It is a lot of information, so if you have any questions, feel free to drop a comment in the comment section below, or also hit me up on my Instagram. Feel free to send any questions through. I'm more than happy to answer and possibly use them in a future video, maybe a Q&A style. But that was it for today's video, guys. Hope you enjoyed. Show some love with a like, comment, and subscribe if you're new. Sensei Swole, checking out.